A West Michigan couple says Frontier Airlines messed up big time by telling them to check in at the airport for a flight that had already been canceled. The couple says they spent nearly $1,000 for hotel accommodations and last-minute flights and have not been reimbursed. So they called us to help. 13 on your side's Jay Plyburn reports.
I loved at Nikki's pool where she had that little waterfall.
Chip Hackney and his wife Carol of Fruitport love to travel.
Indian Rocks is where we went last year.
Sometimes they even put together a memory book like this one.
We went down to the beach,
highlighting their recent trip to Fort Myers.
Trip was great. The weather was nice there. We stayed with a friend. She had a nice swimming pool attached to her house, and so we went out and sat by the pool. We got to see the Fort Myers area. We got to see basketball game.
It was, by all accounts, the perfect getaway.
Everything went off without a hitch until we hit the airport to go home.
The flight they thought they had back to Grand Rapids wasn't there.
I went over and looked on one of those big signs that tells you departures and arrivals, and there's no flight on there.
The Hackneys were flying with Frontier Airlines, or so they thought. Their round-trip tickets were purchased on October 7th. The flight confirmation emailed out the same day. 3 weeks later, they got an email that there were changes to the flight schedule, Chip saying he thought it only affected the outgoing flight.
Once they had informed us of the flight change on the way down there, we looked at our options with them. There weren't any that would work, so we opted to take the refund for the trip down there. But we hung on to the return flight because there was no indication of any changes to that flight.
So they booked a one-way flight, flew to Fort Myers on December 8th, and enjoyed their vacation. Which brings us back to their departure, scheduled for Sunday, December 11th.
I had received, I think, 5 emails on that Sunday that were confirmation emails of our flight. When I opened the email, it had the flight number, it had the departure time of 8:53 p.m., it had the passengers.
He says he also got a text message prompting him to go ahead and check in, but the link didn't actually work.
So I figured, we're just going to have to do it when we get to the airport.
Little did they know their flight had been canceled. To make matters worse, they say the Frontier Airlines desk was empty.
I was just baffled. As I said, the fact that they had just texted us at 6 o'clock and said, check in for your flight. And, we just couldn't understand what possibly could have happened. And here we sit in the airport with our luggage, and we don't have our rental car anymore, and we don't have any accommodations arranged for the night. We ended up getting a hotel. We had to find one that had a shuttle from the airport, went to the hotel, and looked up and found a flight on another airline.
How much did you have to spend to get back to West Michigan?
It was a little bit over $930, just a flight and the hotel. We're a retired couple, on a fixed income, and when we planned this trip, we budgeted out. We knew we were going to have to pay a certain amount for accommodation, a certain amount for flights and stuff.
He says Frontier Airlines has since refunded the money for that canceled flight and offered $25 vouchers for Frontier Airlines. But the Hackneys say they should be reimbursed for all of it, especially since Frontier sent an email and text saying check in now for a flight that didn't exist.
And obviously, they've got a real issue with information and communication.
Will you think twice about booking with Frontier Airlines moving forward?
I won't ever book with Frontier moving forward.
Jay Plyburn reporting there. We reached out to Frontier Airlines about this, and they quickly responded saying they would be happy to review the expenses for reimbursement consideration. As of last week, a reimbursement check for $940 was being processed, which Frontier Airlines says takes 3 to 5 weeks. If you need help with something, call the help team at 616-559-1313 or email help@13onyourside.com.